Bar for Bar album reviews. Nyck Caution, Anywhere But Here. Anywhere But Here is the latest release from Pro Era's Nyck Caution, and this project follows his Open Flame EP from last year as well as his project Disguise the Limit from back in 2016. It's definitely been a long time coming. I'm glad to see that we've got a new full-length release. This project itself, based on the first single, How You Live It with Joey Bada, may give listeners a different idea of what this album's subject matter is about, but once you get into the album proper, it becomes pretty clear that this is going to be a very personal project. This album comes in at a total runtime of 37 minutes with 14 tracks, 2 of which are skits, so it's definitely a quick listen and does a great job of holding your attention throughout. Like I mentioned before, this album is pretty personal, and to kick things off, we have the first track, December 24th. This song, at first, could be seen as a dedication to Capital Steez, who passed away on December 24th, 2012. But in actuality, it's about the passing of his father. This track takes us through a few of the stages of grief that Nyck has gone through while coping with the loss of his father. He mentions that it's been a hard couple of years for him. This truly makes sense because of how close it seems the two of them were. While all of these thoughts are running through his mind, we have the outro from LB Thry to remind him that the memory of his father is what is most important and that he's always around as long as Nyck remembers him. The title track, Anywhere But Here, really acts as the intro, I feel, because it addresses a few things that we'll be seeing throughout the album without going too into one particular topic. I do still like December 24th, almost as a foreword to a book where you'd say who it's dedicated to. I guess that's more of a dedication page. The first half of the song has Nyck touching on how some people may not be living life to the fullest. They're treating it as if it was the read-through rather than the movie itself, which leads into him talking about cycles and the cycle of life. From here, we get a bit of a callback to the first track with the lines, "You told me I could be anything I wanted to be, and I'm getting closer to it, but I can't be happy as I should, because every goal I reach, you're not going to be there to see it." I really like this because it shows that Nyck is still vulnerable and is still processing his grief. He puts it in a way that's real, and I feel many people can relate to it in regards to the grief itself. Motion Sickness feels like the perfect riding music, and has this kind of melancholy feel to it though. The beat and delivery of the chorus make it feel pretty upbeat, but what's being said is introspective and more serious in nature. To me, it feels like this would be played when you have a lot on your mind and you just kind of want to be left alone for some time to really get into your own thoughts. The premonitions that Nyck's experiencing are the same sort of negative thoughts that most people have. Kind of like when you think about the worst possible outcome for something. These demons are around him and he just hopes that what he's doing will make them run away. How You Live It was the first single for this project and features Joey Bada. Here, Nyck's first verse touches on the fakeness of a lot of people, not just rappers, talking about how people feel that they're becoming famous or getting attention just because of social media posts going viral. With that fame comes a lot of fakeness in itself, and that really starts to show pretty quickly. I think the point of the song is to address the different lifestyles that people try to portray, when in reality, most people aren't really like that in real life. The next track, What You Want, continues the addressing of others around Nyck. This time, he addresses people who only want to talk to him to do music, but plays it off in a way that's kind of fake, you know? He does this in a really good way by adding little cuts where someone's asking him to do work with him, or that they have beats for him but they're just not good, or the way that they've approached him just isn't genuine. It's along the same lines of someone who never supported you just hitting you up when you start popping. Nyck says it best with, "You want something from me but I got nothing I need." Everything's give and take. And if you don't have anything of real value to him, he's not with it. Dirt on Your Name is a song about having dirt on your name and trying to wash it away. The first verse has Nyck talking about the music industry and trying to understand what keeps artists from becoming popular. He puts it well with, "Is there a heaven for us hip-hop heathens that didn't crack? Always think the next track is the best track, but then you got a little blowing up bigger than a meth lab. I guess we blame it on bad breaks or bad beats." He, like many artists with content in their lyrics, don't always get poppin' for one reason or another. Here, he chalks it up to having bad beats or bad breaks, but not before bringing up the fact that there's others that are blowing up that may or may not have less to say. Another strong line is, would you rather be unknown or somebody that everybody knows for just being okay? This is something that I feel a lot of artists all think about, but no one really ever addresses it, but it also relates to the lines I mentioned prior. The second verse is more personal with this family life and his emotions. Dealing with the loss of his father isn't something that he was necessarily prepared for, but he acknowledges that it's just part of his growth. Next, we have Bad Day featuring Denzel Curry. This track is to let the listeners know that if either Denzel or Nyck is having a bad day, just stay clear of him. Don't mess with him. You don't want to see him on a fucking bad day. I did a full breakdown for this track last week, so be sure to check that out if you want a more in-depth analysis of it. It's a really good fuck everything sort of song though, and I could definitely see this being a mosh song whenever concerts are a thing again. Code Check / Season 47 is a split track, with the first half being about life and living it to its fullest. It's a pretty straightforward part that is probably best summarized with, life's too short and we all be stressed, but we still woke up, so we all be blessed. There's a lot of things in life that we can't really control, so maybe we shouldn't worry about it so much. The second half, Season 47, is all about the things in life that stress him and his coping mechanisms. This second half really just flips everything that he said in the first half, and it's low-key depressing. I really enjoy it though, because he's being real about things. There are things that only he feels that he can deal with, even though he has a proper support system and people around him that are willing to help. Oftentimes we get really into our own heads about things and feel like we can't ask for help. So instead we lean on other outlets. This isn't even necessarily just negative outlets. Nyck mentions that when he's on tour, he feels like Thor, but then he comes back and he just feels worse than before. This is something that I feel a lot of people can relate to. Even if you're not going on tour, you can think of it as going on vacation or spending a lot of time with your friends. You get such a rush of energy and you feel great, but then once it's over, you just kind of feel down. Product of My Environment features Coda the Friend and Eric the Architect, and it's pretty straightforward. Every artist here talks about the things that made them who they are today, and it's pretty dope. I like that we get a look at how Nyck Caution got his name, which was apparently by taking caution tape from a park bench and covering his head with it. The next song, Things Could Be Worse, really feels like a continuation of the previous song because it touches on some of the same themes. This time though, it features CJ Fly and Jake Luttrell. Nyck's verse has him going through the things that he used to do and where he is today as a reflection of sorts. Again, very similar to the idea of the previous track, just a slightly different vibe to it. CJ Fly brings in a really solid verse as well, talking about the things that he's seen and done in his younger days and how this year he'll be seeing his son walking. The album begins to wrap up with Something to Remember Me By. This feels like a letter written to someone, possibly someone he's been involved with for some time. At this point, it feels like they've gone their separate ways, but he still has feelings for them and hopes that they'll reach out to him. If not, this song is something to remember him by. It sounds like one of those, like, I really miss you, I hope you're missing me too sort of songs. I'm not too big on it personally, but I definitely see the appeal. The final track on this album is Kids That Wish. This song touches on where Nyck is currently and some of the things that have happened along the way. It actually acts as a really solid outro and conclusion for the project because with many of the tracks we hear a bit more about him personally and all the things that he struggled with. Seeing a bit of positivity at the end definitely helps here and can let the listeners know that even all the hard times that we go through are for a greater purpose. Overall, this album is really dope and has set the bar for albums to come this year. It really takes us through a lot of the struggles that Nyck's been going through this year and years prior and puts it in a way that many can relate to. Even for someone like myself who hasn't lost anyone like he has, it's pretty intense and really makes you empathize with him. My favorite tracks are December 24th, Bad Day, How You Live It, Code Check / Season 47, and Product of My Environment. This project's been really solid, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I can't wait to see what Pro Era may have in store for us later this year. I know CJ Fly just dropped a tape. Joey's probably going to drop something. I'm excited. With that said, let me know in the comments below what you thought of this album, what your favorite tracks are, and like and subscribe if you want to see more reviews and content like this. Thank you for watching, and please stay safe out there.